Ghazwat Zid Qarat and Salamah ibn Akwa raziyallahu anhu. So it's a battle of this Ghazwa, which is Zid Qarat, and the Sahabi's name is Salamah ibn Akwa. Okay, so this is an important one. So we were in the now we're in the 6th year of Hijrah. So this is 6 years of Hijrah, 5 years before the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa wasallam. Okay. And this year starts now. The most important historian that we have been following is called Ibn Kasir rahmatullah alayhi. Has anybody heard of him? Yeah. Yes, good. So he's one of the mufassirin of the Quran. He has been writing the commentary of the Quran, and he's also one of the historians of Quran. Oh, sorry, of Islam. How do you say historian in Urdu? Muakhir. Muakhir nahi. Yeah, Tariq Thani hoga shayad. Anyway, so Ibn Kasir is the one who we are using as a primary source. He's very, very reliant. So Al-Imam Ibn Ahmad rahmatullah alayh narrates from Salamah ibn Akwa that he, along with one of the slaves of Rasulullah, Rabah, went out to Medina to graze the camels. So now the camels of the Sahaba, some of the camels of Rasulullah, there were not a lot of grazing grounds within Medina. What does grazing mean? That the camels need to go out, they need to eat grass, chill out, relax a little bit. Yeah, basically out to pasture. Okay, so these people, they had just gone out of Medina to graze their livestock. Okay, this also included one of the camels of Rasulullah, okay, which Rabah took out. They used to take them first to a place called Bayat, and then that place ran out of pasture. Pasture means it ran out of grass. So they had to move further to a place called Al-Ghabba in order for the camels to graze. So they went a little bit further. So it's olden times, you have to go out where you find grass, because if your camels don't eat, then they become lean and then they become weak. Right? So Salamah raziyallahu anhu was not with the camels of Rasulullah. He was not appointed as the shepherd. It was Rabah who was the shepherd. Now, who was the shepherd of the flock? Rabah. And the Sahabi who was at that point in time not with the camels was Hazrat Salamah. Okay. Salamah went out because he had the horse of Talha bin Ubaidullah raziyallahu anhu. He was working for him. So Rabah, so just understand the context. Rabah was taking out the animals of Rasulullah, especially the camel, and Hazrat Salamah raziyallahu anhu had taken out the horses of Talha bin Ubaidullah. Who is Talha bin Ubaidullah? Do you remember? He's one of the 10 Ashra Mubashra who were guaranteed Jannah. He's also that Sahabi who rescued Rasulullah on the battle of Uhud when he was injured. He was weak. So Hazrat Talha basically put him on his back and climbed all the way up to the mountain. So that is how special Hazrat Talha was. In another narration, it says that they left before Fajr. Okay, so they left a little bit before Fajr. Obviously, in the desert, it's very hot. It's not very good. So they had to leave pretty early, before the first adhan. So very early out in the day. So they might have gone out in the field and then they must have done Jama in the grazing areas. So far with me? Okay. Regarding the camels of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they would leave early in the day and they would come back at the time of Maghrib, and then they would milk them and have their dinner. So this was normally the routine. In the morning they would go, they would graze, they would come back, you would milk the camels as well, and then they would have their dinner. That used to be the normal routine. So they had to have their camels in good fetter, because you never knew when the battle is going to come. You have to keep your mounts ready. Now all of this was happening. So they were nicely grazing their animals and everything. And then some bandits came, right? So it was time of Ghallas. Ghallas is the time of Fajr, when it is still dark. So now Fajr these days, Jama happens at around 4:30. What time does it start? Around 3:50, 3:55, something like that, right? So that's when the Fajr time starts, but it is still dark. Okay, that's known as Ghalas. Ghalas is the time of Fajr, when it is still dark. Abdurrahman bin Uyayna, he was the leader of the bandits, and these were from the tribe of Ghatafan. If you remember, the Ghatafan were also present at which battle? Very good. So Ghatafan was also present at the Battle of Khandak. Now, this person, Abdurrahman ibn Uwaina, he's leading a bunch of bandits and they attack this flock of people who are just not there on battle, right? They're just shepherding their animals. Now they stole the camels of Rasulullah and they killed the shepherd. So they stole Rasulullah's camel and they killed the shepherd. This was a tragic event. Salamah radhiyallahu anhu said, so I told Rabah, take this horse and go back to Medina and deliver it to Talha bin Ubaidullah. So the horse of Talha bin Ubaidullah was with Salamah. He tells Rabah, get on the horse and let Rasulullah know that his camels have been kidnapped or have been taken away. Salamah, rather than taking the horse himself, he gave it to Rabah in order to take it back to Medina, and he depended on his legs. He was a very fast runner. He was one of the sprinters amongst the Sahaba. And he was also very brave. So he gave the horse to Rabah, go back quickly, announce it's like calling 911, right? Announce the emergency, and I will run home and I'll take care of these enemies. That's okay. Okay, Ibrahim, can you pour me some water, please? He wanted the news to get back to Medina very, very quickly. So he sent Rabah with his horse, but he himself climbed over a small mountain on top of a hill. That's the mindset of the Sahaba, right? They just don't run away like that. So he sends Rabah away, but he himself gets on a little bit of the mount. Now, if you remember from the Makkah series, there is an announcement that the Arabs used to do. It is Wasubaha, Wasubaha, Wasubaha. Wasubaha is like if you were sitting here and you hear air raid sirens. Remember? If you hear air raid sirens, you would all get very worried. Ki kuch ho gaya hai, India's attacked or something. The same thing in Arabian times used to be Wasubaha. Wasubaha is like 911. It's in emergency times. So they announced 911, emergency, Wasubaha. Okay. Wasubaha in his voice was heard all the way to Medina, and that is when the men heard his call. So people in Medina, they all gathered together and they heard the call of Wasubaha. Some things happened. And they were saying, and this was the first time this slogan was used, Ya Khayl Ali. Oh, horses of Allah, ride on. So now all the Muslims got together and they said, oh, horses of Allah, let's ride on. Okay. The Sahaba responded to the call very fast and they came rushing towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when they heard the call of Salamah radhiyallahu anhu. So it's an emergency that has been imposed and they are now responding very quickly. Now Salamah himself ran after that. What followed? Now Abdurrahman ibn Uwaina said, I had with me my sword and my bow and arrow and I would shoot at them and I would kill their horses. So Hazrat Salamah had his sword, he had his bow, he had his arrow. On his own, he started chasing the enemy. And he started shooting at them with his arrows. And he said that I would kill their horses and I would also injure some of them. He would target the horses and he would kill them so that they can't run away. And I would do that when there would be a lot of trees because he could ambush them and he could also take position of hiding and that would protect him. If you remember, I taught you guerrilla warfare last time, right? What is that? You hide and you attack. That's basically in military terms, it's called asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric means when your enemy is much stronger than you, what do? You change your tactics. If you go out openly and fight with them, obviously you will be defeated. But if you go and change your tactics, you have a chance. So that's what Salamah radhiyallahu anhu did. He would hide behind the trees, shoot, change his position, shoot, change his position, and they would be like chasing shadows, right? He said, I would shoot them when I would be in between trees, and whenever one of the horsemen would come back to me, he would hide again. I would hide for him behind a tree, and I would shoot at him while I would call out to them the battle of cry. So I kept repeating the battle cry and I would keep shooting at them. So this was the bravery of Salamah radhiyallahu anhu. Now this is the line of poetry that he made. It means, take it, I am the son of Al-Akwa. Today the wicked will die. So he was, while fighting, he was reciting poetry. Just goes to show their mindset. And he would repeat this on battle cry again and again and again. He said, when I would be in the trees, I would burn them with my arrows. And if we came through mountain passes, I would climb on top of them and throw rocks at them. So now, when they're down, he would shoot arrows at them. When he was on top of a small hill, he would throw rocks at them. So he was making life hell for them. How many are there? He's just one. Yes, Ibrahim.
Why can he shoot?
He's shooting arrows also and rocks also, whatever damages them most. So Salamah, excuse me. So Salamah ibn Akwa was driving these men crazy. He is alone and he's fighting this entire group of men and he's making life difficult for them. It's, if you remember, Noaim ibn Masud, he was just one person in the Battle of Trench and he made all three of the allies fight with each other. And now you had Salamah bin Akwa radhiyallahu anhu, he's driving the enemy mad with this. So first of all, he is alone and they are a large group. Number two, he was on foot and they were on horseback. That did not deter him. He was still fighting hard. But Salamah was courageous and he was fast and he was a good archer. And the most important thing was he was a mu'min. So just remember, especially the boys, okay? All the boys who you think are, really manly, you can go and do paddas in school. What does it really mean to be a man? This is what it means. First and foremost, you have to be a good Muslim. You can't be a real man if you're not a Muslim and a practicing Muslim. Somebody who can lift 100 kilos on a bench but can't lift the blanket over you at Fajr, you're not a man. You can lift 200 kilos, but you can't lift the blanket at Fajr time. Don't think of yourself as a macho man. Zero. So the first thing, you have to be practice. Same things, walking down the street. If you see something haram, if you can't lower your gaze, look down, can't control yourself, don't think of yourself as a real man. So the first prerequisite for being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to be a strong Muslim. No room for weak Muslims. That's the first thing. Second thing, be trained in something. He was a good archer. Okay? So you need to be trained. You can't be a couch potato all day. Okay? So he was a good archer and he was also a fast runner. And the most important thing was he was brave. So Iman, your spirituality, your courageousness, and then train yourself. Okay? And that is when you will be a man. Everything else is distraction. Okay? He said, everything that they had taken away, they left it behind them. These men were running away. So all the things that they had stolen, the camel and the horses, now they were just running away, running for their life, just because of this one man, Salamah bin Akwa radhiyallahu anhu. To make themselves light and faster in running away from me, they left behind the camels and they, in fact, started leaving behind their own things as well. So not only did they start leaving behind the contraband, the stuff that they had stolen, they started leaving their own stuff behind as well. Okay, so it's nice. It's like a nice knife edge, right? So we'll take a break at the knife edge like you do when you watch shows. Okay, so we'll do a quiz now, inshallah.
So quick?
It's 12, right? Yeah, 12. So we are talking about... So we're talking about Salamah ibn Akwa radhiyallahu anhu. And he was attacking the enemy and then they were running away and they were leaving behind their things because they wanted to just escape. And then the enemy received reinforcements, okay, from Uyayna bin Badr al-Fadali. He was also from Ghatafan. He is part of the enemy, Kuffar. They were now receiving him as the leader of the reinforcements. Uyayna said, what is this that I see? They said, we have seen such difficulty from this man. So Uyayna is like, this one person is throwing rocks at you, he's throwing arrows at you. What is all UCCs? And the soldiers are saying, no, this guy has been giving us such trouble since all morning. He has not left us since early in the day until this moment, and he has taken everything away from us. One man army. Uyayna told them, if this man sees that you are pursuing him, then he would not follow you. Meaning, why are you leaving him alone? Now, Uyayna is saying that you are running away, you're escaping, and you're giving Salamah the opportunity to attack you. You have to turn the tables around. Stop being pursued and start pursuing. Okay? But pursue him and he will leave you alone. Okay? It's also military strategy. The best way to defend is to attack. Okay. So we will continue. So 4 of the men at the command of Uyayna started climbing up the mountain to go up to Salamah Razilatahu anhu.
But there's 5. 5. There's 5 men.
AI glitch.
You want me for them?
So 4 of them were running after Salamah Razilatahu anhu. They started climbing the mountain until they were in voice range. They could talk to each other. So Salamah asked them, do you know who I am? They said, no, who are you? We don't know. He said, I am the son of Al-Akwa. I am in the name of the one who has honored the face of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. None of you would follow me and reach me. He said, I am the son of Akwa. None of you can come and reach me. This is like challenging, right? And none of you whom I follow will escape me. If you try to chase me, if you try to get me, you will not be able to do so. So he's one person talking to 4 people with confidence, with courage, and saying, look, you will not be able to touch me. But if I pursue you, I would hunt you down. One of them said, I think he's right. And then they started descending. Look, the fear Allah puts in the hearts of, I don't know if you've seen this video. It's from India. And this is during the time when the Hindus were just now persecuting the Muslims. So there are like 50 men and they're, chanting Hindu slogans, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. And there's one girl in proper hijab and abaya. She's a student, comes in a motorcycle and simply parks the motorcycle. And they're trying to harass her. And you know what she does? She starts saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And they just run away. Literally, the mu'min has the madad of Allah. Never underestimate that. Now, Salamah said, at that time, I started seeing the knights of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam approaching. I could see them between the trees. Now, Akwa has been fighting these people alone all this time. But now, finally, between the trees, he can see people coming from Medina. And these are the knights of Fursan. Faris in Arabic means knight. Fursan means knights. Right? So the Fursan of Rasulullah are coming, the knights of Rasulullah. The first among them was Al-Akhram Al-Azdi, and then following him was Abu Qatada, the Faris of Rasulullah. Now, Abu Qatada, remember that name. This is one of the knights of Rasulullah, one of the champions of Rasulullah. And after Abu Qatada was Al-Maqdad ibn Al-Aswad. When the polytheists, when the kuffar saw the Muslim army come, they all ran away. Again. Now, the first one, Al-Akhram Al-Azdi, so Hazrat Salamah Razilatahu anhu says, I came down off the mountain and I held on to the reins of his horse rather. Okay? And I told him, Oh Akhram, be careful from them because I fear that they will cut you off. Now, Al-Akhram is riding in front of the main Muslim army. The Muslim army is following behind. And he was saying that don't be detached from the army, stay close to them. Al-Akram was ahead of the rest of them. So Salamah was saying, don't rush. Al-Azdi says, Oh Salamah, if you believe in Allah and the last day, and you believe that Jannah is true and An-Nar is true, then do not stand between me and martyrdom. He is looking for martyrdom. He is not looking for vain glory, or he's not looking for something. So he says, look, if you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't get in the way of me getting shahada. That is the true objective of the Sahaba, right? The Sahaba's objective was not worldly. And this is more and more important for us, brothers and sisters, to think about. You should have higher goals in life. Look at the love that Al-Akram had for meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wanted to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a shaheed. Are you okay? You need a tissue? Yeah? Nee? Ibrahim? Can you get a tissue for us, man? Yeah. The Muslim way is to not laugh at each other, but to help each other. You need the tissues, man? It's okay. Chalo, carry on. Acha ji. So look at the love that they had. It's still very funny. Hey? चलो pause कर लेते हैं हंस लो फिर हम resume कर लेते हैं anyway. चलें, let's go ahead. Salamah said, I let him be, so he pursued Abdurrahman ibn Uyayna, and Uyayna turned around to face him. Now, Al-Azdi was chasing after the leader of the kuffar. Okay? Now, this battle is an interesting one. Now, Salamah is looking at them. Now, each of them stabbed the other. Al-Akram stabbed the horse of Abdurrahman ibn Uyayna, but Abdurrahman stabbed Al-Azdi. Now, the Muslim commander, who is Al-Azdi, he stabbed the horse of Uyayna, but Uyayna managed to stab Azdi. Ji.
Why is it not something Abdurrahman?
They could be. So the thing is, even if in the last time, that's a good question. I was thinking, of when will you ask? So the thing was that the kuffar used to believe in Allah, right? And they knew, Ar-Rahman was one of the names of Allah. The problem was they used to believe in intermediaries, that Allah is the God. There's so many gods in between. So even in the Quran, it says they asked them, who is your Lord? And the kuffar would say, Allah. But the fact was that they would believe in, the Lat and Al-Uzza, and they would have 360 something idols in the Kaaba. So now the horse of Abdurrahman was killed and Al-Akram was killed. So Abdurrahman took over the horse of Al-Akram. Then the opposite happened. Now Qatada steps up. He attacks Abdurrahman, and in this case, it was Abdurrahman who was stabbed, and the horse of Qatada was stabbed and killed. So Qatada stabbed Abdurrahman and killed him. So this was a duel. First, the enemy killed the Muslim, and then Qatada Rizla anhu killed Uyayna. So this was a fixed battle that was happening. So now he took over the horse that Abdurrahman had, which was originally the horse of Al-Akram. Salamah said, and now I started running after the enemies of Allah until I could not see them from the dust of the companions of Rasulullah. Now he said, I was running after the enemy who was running away, and I could not see them because they were running away and there was so much dust. All of the horsemen of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were behind Salamah while Salamah was running on foot. So Salamah was running after the enemy, and all of the horsemen and the army of Rasulullah was behind Salamah. Yes. It's just illustration, okay? Now it was almost Maghrib time, sunset, and they reached to a valley that they had some water, and it is called Zul Qarad. That's the name of the battle, the Ghazwa of Zul Qarad. And they wanted to drink from that water, but when they saw me running after them, pursuing them, they left it and they started running up the hills. Now Salamah is running after them. He has been running after them since morning. He has not left them be. Okay? And now the sun had set, so I followed one of them and I struck him with an arrow. And I told him, take that. I'm the son of Al-Akwa. Today the wicked will die. Same slogan since morning. Saying, take that. Another arrow. And today the wicked will die.
So this is the same guy.
So listen. So now the sun had set, so I followed one of them and I said, today the wicked will die. And he said, woe to your mother. Are you the same Akwa from this morning? Meaning, are you the same man who has been following us since the day has started? Are you the same man? He continues. I said, yes, you enemy of Allah. Enemy of yourself. Adu Allah, or the enemy of yourself. And this happened to be the same man who I had already struck with an arrow in the morning. So now he had 2 arrows sticking out of him. So this guy had 2 arrows sticking out of him, and Salamah was not leaving him alone. Now, Salamah said they left behind 2 horses, so I took them over and now I went back to the Muslim camp. The enemy had run away and they were taking it back to the Muslim camp. And I found them sitting on the same water that was in this valley that the Mushrikeen wanted to drink from. So the Muslim had camped at the same place where the Mushrikeen water. Wait for it. To be continued. Good question though. And I found Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with 500 men, and Bilal Raziyallahu anhu was slaughtering for them one of the camels that I had left behind, and he was roasting part of the liver. So they were having a nice barbecue while the enemy had run away. See, that was the beauty of jihad. They didn't think of jihad as a burden on their head. Jihad used to be something that they used to live for. This was something that they used to love doing, and martyrdom, and they used to enjoy it as well, right? At the end of the day, Salamah is running all over the place. So, and I came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and I told him, Rasulullah, let me choose 100 from amongst your men and I would pursue with them the kuffar until we leave none of them alive. Now it's the end of the day. Salamah is tired. He's not tired. And he comes to Rasulullah and he says, give me 100 men. I'm not going to leave them alone. Okay. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, would you do so? Oh Salamah, do you want to do that? Salamah said, yes, in the name of Allah who has honored you. Rasulullah started laughing until I saw his teeth from the light of the fire. And he said, now they are already being fed in the land of Ghatafan. Yani that the enemy has run far away. It's okay. Relax now. Okay. So the enemy had ran away and they had fled. So the next morning, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, now this is like award ceremony, right? The best of our horsemen is Abu Qatada, and the best of our foot soldiers is Salamah. Qatada was the one who had killed Uyayna, if you remember, right? And the best of the foot soldiers is Salamah, who had driven the kuffar crazy all day. It's not over. There's another interesting story coming. It's not over yet.
Didn't Abu Qatada also die?
No. But the nice thing was Rasulullah gave me the spoils of war equal to that of a knight and a foot soldier. If you remember, when we did the battle of Badr, I think. So the horseman gets more of the war booty than the foot soldier. But what did Rasulullah do? He gave Salamah the share of a horseman as well as a foot soldier. So he got double reward. Yeah. And he had me ride with him on his camel Al-Adba when we were going back to Medina. Now Rasulullah gives him the honor. He says, why don't you ride with me? Okay. So Salamah gets on with Rasulullah, but that's not the end of it. When we were around half a day distance from Al-Madinah, amongst us was a man from Al-Ansar who was not defeated in racing. He would call out, is there anyone who would race me? Salamah has been tired all day. He's been fighting and he's been running around. And now finally he's sitting on the camel. Right? Finally he's sitting on the camel and then somebody out of the blue comes from the Ansar. Hey, by the way, somebody wants to challenge me from here to there. But this is not here to there, it's here to Medina. It's like half a day's journey, right? So it must be like 10 kilometers or something. So what do you think Salamah did?
He said, okay.
When he said that, Salamah ibn Akwa had already been running the entire day before, but this challenge was too much for him to pass because this man had been repeating it again and again and again. Who's going to challenge me? Who can defeat me? Who can challenge me? Who can defeat me? And then Salamah finally said, okay, fine. I accept the challenge. Like last week, you guys were doing the plank challenge. And the dark horse was Mustafa. Nobody expected him to win. Anyway. So I said, Ya Rasulullah, may my father and mother be sacrificed for you. Let me race this man. Salamah says, now if the battle is over, he can relax, but no, he wants to race this guy. So Rasulullah said, okay, if you want to, fine, go ahead. So now, who do you think is in the front?
That side.
Who do you think won?
Salamah.
So when the man said, I will come to you at this, he jumped off his mount. No, Salamah jumped off the horse, the camel, and I bent my leg and jumped down from the camel. So that guy got off his horse or his camel, and Salamah Raziyallahu anhu also got off his mount. Now, Salamah is an experienced runner, by the way.
Marathon for
He is an experienced runner. He's not like any Shami. Okay? So Salamah let the man get ahead of him while he was holding himself back, because he wanted to preserve his breath. So he was allowing this man to be ahead of him for a particular distance. So they're running. That guy's in front. He's like, oh, I'm winning. And Qatada is just pacing, right? Salamah Raziyallahu anhu. Until we got close to Al-Madinah, and that is when I started riding hard. 1 second, guys. Hello? Apologies. So until we got close to Medina, then I started running hard.
You said riding hard.
Ran hard. And when I was behind him, I slapped him on his shoulders with my hand and told him, I beat you in the name of Allah. So now that guy was thinking, oh, I'm winning, there's no problem. And Salamah was in control, man. He was in control. And he's like, and he's like, I won. That man laughed and he said, okay, I agree, you won.
And then they went back and just.
Now the question that Usman had asked us, what happened to the camel of Rasulullah that was stolen? Remember? That is where the whole conflict started. Ibn Kasir talks about the camel of Rasulullah. The camel's name was Al-Adba. Remember this because it will come in the quiz next time. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was riding on Al-Adba and he had Salamah ride with him, like I told you. Okay. This hadith is narrated by Imam Abd ibn Hanbal, and he says Al-Adba belonged to a man from Bani Aqil. Initially, shuru mein. So this camel, it has a history, okay? Now, Arabs love their camels and the history of their camels. So this camel belonged to a person called Banu Aqil, from a tribe called Banu Aqil, and it was a racing camel actually. Like you have racing horses, it was a racing camel, and it was a very fast camel. It was a Hajj racing camel. It would call him a Hajj racing camel. It's a fast racing camel.
I think I know.
So this man from Bani Aqil, some time ago, was taken captive by the Muslims along with the camel. This is before this battle, okay? This is just telling you the history of this camel.
Yeah.
Rasulullah passed by him and he was tied up, and Rasulullah was riding on a donkey at that point in time. So the man called out, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why did you take me and take my camel captive? Why did you tie me up? Right? This man was over Bani Aqil and he was protesting. Why was he arrested? Why was he taken captive? Right? So he was not happy. He was traveling somewhere in Arabia and the Sahaba saw him and they captured him and brought him to Medina and they had tied him up. So they just saw him. There was no battle that was happening and they just tied him up. The reason why this man was protesting, because his particular tribe, Banu Aqil, were not in a state of war with the Muslims, where they are not fighting the Muslims. So he's like, why did you capture me, man? I'm not fighting you. There's no battle between us. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered him back and told him, we take you because of the fault of your allies of Banu Saqif. You know where Banu Saqif was from? Taif. And what happened to Rasulullah when he went to Taif?
They stoned him.
They stoned him, the young ones. So Banu Aqil were allies with Banu Saqif. So Banu Aqil, because of their alliance with Banu Saqif, were then implicit. But that's not enough. Saqif were in war with Rasulullah. Up until that moment, there were no battles between Muslims and Saqif, but Saqif was support of the Quraysh against Islam. Saqif are the tribe that in Al-Taif that had persecuted the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and they had made fun of him. Banu Aqil was their ally. At that particular moment, now this is why he was captured. At that particular moment, Saqif had taken 2 Muslims as captives. Sahran, relax. Had taken 2 Muslims as captives. You see now Rasulullah. So Banu Saqif had kidnapped 2 Muslims. So now the Muslims take 2 people from Banu Aqil to do a prisoner swap. Now this guy said, I'm a Muslim. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you had authority over yourself, you would have been successful. Yani, had you told us before you were captured, then maybe we would have believed you. But now you've been captured, so we don't know for sure. Meaning, if you had said so when you were free, now you are a captive and you are trying to claim that you're a Muslim, this would have benefited you before. So it might be that he's tricking the Muslims. Could be. The man said, Oh Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm hungry, so feed me. I'm thirsty, so quench my thirst. He said, give me some food to eat, give me something to drink. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes, that is your need. That is your haqq. In this regard, there are rights of the prisoners. He's fed, he's provided for. Rasulullah told him, these are your needs and they will be provided for. You will not be maltreated. He was then used as a ransom for the 2 Muslims who were taken prisoners. However, he was not given his camel back. The camel was kept with Rasulullah. Okay, so the camel was kept with Rasulullah. Now, when the Mushrikeen had taken over the camels, now we come to that moment in time that the Mushrikeen had stolen the camel of Rasulullah. And now, when the Mushrikeen had taken over the camels of Rasulullah, they had also taken with them a woman from Banu Ghaffar. So, when they had attacked that place, they took the horses and the camels and they took one woman and they kidnapped her as well. And she was a Muslimah. Whenever they would rest at night, they would leave their camels in the area with them. So now this is the same Banu Ghatafan who are running away. So one night while they were asleep, this woman started walking towards each camel in order to take it and run away on its back to Medina, but the camels would refuse. So this woman, she would go to different camels. Now those of you who know how to do horse riding would find that some horses are well trained. You do this, you kick them a little bit, they start. With the camel, you have to give them a command and they stand up. So this woman, she goes to all the camels, none of them respond to her. None of them, except one. Raga. So the raga is a noise that the camel would make and say, look, I don't want to. It's like a horse making a sound, so a camel also makes a sound, which basically means I'm not moving. So she kept going until she came across Rasulullah's camel, which was taken, and that was Al-Adba. Adba was silent, and when she rode on Al-Adba, it was very well domesticated and very simple to read. So it was a very good camel. Like a horse you get in, you touch them a little bit, the horse starts. Touch them a little bit more, it trots, canters, go left, go right. So that's a well-trained horse. So similarly, Al-Adba was a very well-trained camel. So she rode Al-Adba. So she made a promise to Allah. And she said, if Allah saves her on the back of this camel, she would slaughter this camel for the sake of Allah. Now she doesn't know this is Rasulullah's camel. And this is a racing camel. And this is a special camel.
I know this story.
And she said, if I were to be successful and escape, I'll give this as sadaqah, chop him up and feed them to everybody.
Yeah,
So now she arrived in Medina and she told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the promise that, look, I've escaped, I'm fine, now I have to sacrifice this camel. And Rasulullah sallallahu, what do you think he said? Not you.
kiss the gun. I know it. Just slaughter him.
She had made a promise, right?
Just slaughter him.
Just slaughter him?
Yeah. Take someone else.
Online people?
Just slaughter him. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm not recording. Hold on, please don't tell me. ना हो रहा है ना अच्छा So then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her, what a bad reward you're rewarding this camel. He saves you and you want to slaughter him? This camel has saved you and brought you to Medina and you want to slaughter it? And Rasulullah then said, you do not have to fulfill a promise that includes a sin. The thing was, she did not own the camel. So she could not fulfill the promise. If she had done so, she would have sacrificed somebody else's property without their consent. So that would have been a sin. So that's why Rasulullah, because at that point people would have said, oh, this is a promise to Allah, this is a promise to Allah. How can I not fulfill it? But Rasulullah then he said, it's a promise, but you cannot fulfill this promise because it's not yours. Now she did, she did not own the camel. The camel belonged to Rasulullah, and Rasulullah told her not to sacrifice the camel. Yeah. And that is the end of the story of the camel of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And inshallah we will resume. I'll tell you when we will resume. Inshallah. Any questions?
Next Saturday.
I'm not getting pizza.
Okay. Inshallah, I'll let you know if we have a class next Saturday. तो खत्म, class over.
Why?
It's one.
मतलब आप break दे रहे हैं कुछ ऐसे?
No. I'll tell you. Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Should I get a pizza?
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.